Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, I wanted to talk about something concerning a man's wealth and spiritual wealth. Okay, so financial wealth versus spiritual wealth. And for the women, I wanted to ask them, do you want help from your spouse or his wallet? What would feel more spiritual to you? So, a lot of women now, they overemphasize the wallet but not the spiritual connection. And one must argue there are a rarity of very wealthy men with high amounts of religious character. So finding a man with extreme wealth who's highly religious is going to be very difficult. Not saying it doesn't exist, but what I am saying is that a middle class man might actually help you with the child instead of you just paying a nanny. As a woman, do you want to see your husband help you with the baby when you're postpartum, or do you want a nanny? Because a lot of gold diggers talk about, oh, well, he can just be gone at work, and they don't really care to see their husbands. And some women think they want this. But do you want to not see that wonderful bonding happening? Don't you owe your children a father who wants to spend time with them? And when you get up to the higher echelons of men, some of them prefer work over their families, and they cheat on their wives. They don't really care much about their families. It's more about wealth, status, and sleeping with escorts. And you must be very, very careful, or they get temporary marriages, which is just prostitution. Okay? Think about what you actually want from your husband, and how it really does come down to how he treats you. And you want that romance, I'd argue, of seeing him help you with a diaper, or burp the baby, or while you're tending to dinner, he's making sure the kids are taking their shower and that no one's, wasting water or splashing all the water out of the bathtub, you name it. Whatever it is, there is a very euphoric thing when you see your masculine husband helping your children. And they're laughing and having a grand old time. If you pick someone solely based on their money, and you think you can replace them with a nanny, now you're just around feminine energy. You're not really experiencing that masculine energy within your relationship. And the memories you build by doing things together as a couple is very important. So picking a middle class man who can actually be around is important. Very important. Further, I have a note here that I wrote down. A man who actually helps you, or the one who pays for others to because he has no spiritual connection to you. Which is more real and lasting? So, be careful of the cultist witches who talk about he needs to be able to pay for a nanny so I can go to the spa. And he needs to be able to pay for this and pay for that. I want you to think about the isolation of the child, the isolation of yourself and him. See, the woman who thinks well, he has money so he'll pay a nanny and then he can pay my gym membership and he can pay for this, or I'll work and pay for it myself. You're not thinking how you can help him and keep your marriage bond tight. And you're not thinking how you can help him build memories with his children. And you're not thinking about how you can all build memories with each other and have quality, lasting relationships that are healthy, viable, and can withstand excessive amounts of stress, which come with modernity and life itself. So you only get a small window on Earth. Our lives are not guaranteed to be super long. And so, how your husband treats you during your pregnancy and postpartum and when the children are small will actually directly influence your thoughts about motherhood. And so, do you really want it to where he's just paying for things and you don't see him and he's not around? and where he feels disgusted about being around his children and wife and rather be out with his boys chasing money. Really examine that. If you look at Patrick Bet-David and then look at Joe Rogan, these are people who are always out and about. They didn't have a bunch of kids. And if they did, like, let's say they got a new woman and they got her pregnant, due to their work schedule, they would have a nanny. You would wonder how much quality time they get with their kids. And so you may be seeing these Wall Street guys, these finance guys, and be thinking, well, they'll have money, they'll spend it with me. Chances are they spent a lot more on escorts than they will with you. And there's nothing wrong with getting an average guy who, when he comes home from his electrician job, his construction job, plumbing, the slaughterhouse, maybe he's a fisherman, when he comes home to you, and then, he showers, prays, sits on the couch, and the children are relaxing and playing and whatnot, and then you're out watering your garden or something, you have his energy around you that's rejuvenating you and fulfilling you. And to think that a nanny can just come in and you won't get tired of too much female energy is absurd. A lot of feminists will pretend that they want to live in a matriarchy where women have lesbian communes and they're all just raising each other's kids, totally ignoring how catty women can become and how so many women complain about female co-workers and they say they like to work with men instead, and how it's very rare to have a Golden Girls situation. Golden Girls is a show where older women, divorced and widows, live together. And they just get along magically. It's a great show, but it is that, just a show. And so, don't underestimate how you want your husband around, because the feminists will tell you, just divorce willy-nilly if he's not fulfilling all your needs, and you're a queen, you're a goddess, you deserve everything in the world, and then all of a sudden you divorce, you're a single mom, and maybe he pays some child support and you have some type of care, or they're with the daycare, but you're lacking now something great, which is a heterosexual masculine man. And that's gonna make you feel quite weird. A lot of women, I don't think, talk about how calming it is to have a safe man around. How calming and relaxing it is to have a confident, competent, highly functioning spiritual man. And who's in shape, and who has good hygiene, and whatnot, and who's smart, has a sense of humor. These are things you should be thinking about, and a good man doesn't always equate richness. You should think about that. Now, there's tons of insults for women like me. Oh, you're being a pick-me, you're being a Barbara the Builder. Just ask yourself, do those gold diggers you listen to online even like their husbands, or do they secretly shame their husbands? So, yes, they may get the bag, they may have money, but they didn't get their perfect mate. They didn't get that. So, your perfect mate could be right there waiting for you, but you discounted them because they weren't in a Bugatti, or they didn't have a Porsche, or something like that. I'm not saying ride the bus, but what I am saying is that the content of his character is going to affect you spiritually, and you have to ask yourself, do you want a nanny's help or a husband's help, and which is going to fulfill you more spiritually? Which is a situation that's more spiritual? What is going to make you feel more feminine? If you want to be the princess who's getting her hair brushed and, there's women, slaves just doting on you hand and foot. But ask yourself, don't you want to see your newborn baby laying on the very muscular chest of your husband? Don't you want to see, like when it's a hot summer day, your husband's home, he's in his workout shorts on the couch, and your 3-month-old is just cuddled by his arms. And while you're prepping food, you get to look over and see that panther on the table. I mean, not on the table, on the couch. Think about it. We forget sometimes as women that we need men to really feel feminine sometimes, because men bring out that feminine energy in you. If you're a lesbian, you can feel that around some women, but a lot of lesbians are very butch. And yeah, bisexuals, that's a little different. But what I'm talking about is for heterosexual women. When an attractive male is around you, such as your husband, that feeling you get, you don't get that same feeling around women. And what's going to help you feel that special feeling is having a husband. And so, if you think he doesn't make enough because he can't afford a nanny, ask yourself, is that really what's going to spiritually fulfill you long term? It can feel like you're a princess by having him pay for a cook, pay for a maid, pay for a nanny, pay for a chauffeur, pay for your Uber, pay. But the act of service of him coming to you and helping you with the groceries, of tending to the baby as you shower, him being involved has a high reward for you and strengthens your marriage. Way more than just his wallet does. His actions. Really examine that. At first you may be thinking, if I have a nanny, I can go to the gym, I can do all this stuff. But is that what's best for the baby? Is that what's best? It's very difficult to have a man who's making lots of money, but he's always around. Ask yourself that. And while you're watching another woman do your job by taking care of your kids, it doesn't feel the same. When you look over and see your husband spending time with you, even though you guys have humble means, this is really rewarding visually, spiritually, and femininity-wise. But if he's gone, and you're home, and then you're waiting on the nanny shows up, and then you're off alone, your husband's at work, the baby's with a stranger, basically, and a stranger you pay. You don't know if they're being abused. You know, you could have a nanny cam, but things could happen off camera. And you're just out there being selfish. The home is split. When in reality, you need to bring it together. Bring it together. Don't split off. And then he falls in love with someone else, and then you're out there getting hit on by other men, and the baby's like, where the hell's my mom? The baby wants you. Your child wants you. They don't want a damn nanny. Regardless of how nice the nanny is. They want their mom. They know your voice. They grew in your womb. They heard your heartbeat. They know your scent. They know your smile. They want you. They feel the safest with you. And so, think about the women who, their husbands, when they have like a home birth, or they're at a birthing center, and the husband's there and he catches the baby when it's born, and seeing your husband hold your brand new baby in this world. I just want you to really look at how it's so rewarding to have a man around. And don't just look at the wallet, because you want help from him, not just his wallet. Really examine that. It's a very serious topic. Because the gold digger will have you think that the wallet is the man, when in reality, a man can have enough means and then offer you an abundance of spiritual wealth. Something to think about. Let me know your opinions, and if you'd like to join my blog, you can go to www.subscribestar.com/Milahan. Hope to see you there.